And how do I... There we go. We've just gone live. Wow, thank you, Emily. You know, like just, we're trying something new, and I'm just so blessed to have Emily come forward and say she wants to play for us, and juggling baby and music and being in front of you for the first time and singing One Tower. Oh, Lordy, she must have had some, she has some good old faith to get her through all that. I know it. And that song is so perfect for us today because really all we do here on Sundays is to affirm that power and know that there is a truth. And just because the theme of today seems to be music, I have a song that I want you to catch on to. And Emily's going to love this one if she hasn't heard it already. It goes like this. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can stop loving me. Want to try that? I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. Now you got it one more time. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. Woo! Give yourself a round of applause. Important message for today, because Ernest Holmes says we must not be disturbed by the contradictions of objective experience. Lots of times when I read his quotes, I think, yeah, is everybody going to hear what I'm saying? So let me break it down. Objective experience, what is that? Those are those things outside of ourselves that we're observing, and those are the objects of our experience. They're out there. They're not that internal thing. They're that thing out there. But often what he says is they contradict themselves, right? Like we'll have an experience over here that doesn't really resonate with the experience over there, and they're incongruent. They're contradictions. And so he's saying don't be disturbed by that. He says we must not be disturbed by the contradictions of objective experiences. And he goes on to say, we shall have to know that the truth we announce is superior to the condition which it is to change. So the truth that we are to announce is superior to any objective condition out there. The truth. So I thought, well, what is the truth? And what is this thing that we call the truth? Because we talk about the truth all the time here at the center. What is this big truth? So I went online and I decided to YouTube Infinite Universe and see what popped up. And what popped up actually was a bunch of scientists talking about the infinite universe. And I thought, well, this is kind of interesting. What do they want to say about that? And basically what they all say is that we really don't know that it's infinite. All that we know is that we're able to observe from the Earth outward about 14 billion light years away. Pretty big, right? 14 billion, not million, billion light years. So the speed of light, if you're traveling from, we just have some guests in our home, if you're traveling from Europe to Vancouver, what happens is it takes about 9 hours and you arrive the same time that you leave. You're chasing the light. Okay, so if you could go faster, if we could go faster in a plane than light, that we could actually then go back in time, right? We could pass the sun and we could go back in time, but we haven't really accomplished that yet. So light travels pretty quickly. So 14 billion light years is what they've been able to observe out in the universe. That is assuming that we're the center of the universe, which is pretty arrogant. All of them agree that that's some sort of arrogance that the Earth is the center of the universe. So therefore, it's probably even much further than that. And then when they're questioned, well, like, do you believe in infinite? And they all say, well, I don't really know whether it's true that it's infinite, but there's nothing here to demonstrate that it isn't. And until we are shown in our scientific research that it's not infinite, that you actually bump into something at the end, we're going to stick with infinite. Pretty cool. So all the scientists even believe in an infinite universe, and that all scientific theories are based in that premise. So this is stepping out of the realm of spiritual practice, out of the realm of religion. They believe too in an infinite universe. And it doesn't come from facts. right? Facts are something that we can touch, that we believe to be true. That science is based on a premise, a belief in an infinite universe. So any of your scientific friends who want to argue about spiritual concepts and say, I'm not going to believe it till I see it, you can tell them, well, isn't that interesting? Because all science is based in something that they can't see. Interesting. So Ernest Holmes goes on to say that we shall repeatingly, we shall have to know that the truth we announce is superior to the condition which it is to change. Easy, right? So if the truth is this infinite universe, which is at least 14 billion light years, well, that's bigger than any experience we're having. Do you agree? I hope so. Jeez, otherwise you're pretty incredible if you can create something crazier than that. He says, we shall have to see that God in us recognizes God in the other person until the God in the other person recognizes God in us. That's the way it works. In an infinite universe, we're all part of it. The bigger truth is we're all part of it. There's not someone that is more infinite universe than someone else. We're all equally part of this infinite expression, right? And so when we recognize that, when we can love that infinite expression in someone else, to the degree that we know that at some point they're going to turn around and they'll love us. It's the way it works. Back to the song. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. Right? Take that away with you today. This cannot be done by human will. Who has tried human will? Who has succeeded with using human will? For those of you who have succeeded, there'll be a workshop next weekend. He says it is only when we recognize pure essence of the spiritual principle, inherent and incarnate in each one of us, that 14 billion light years minimum, that we find that the thought arising from the atmosphere of spiritual realization has no adversary. When we deepen ourselves in truth, it includes everything, and we transform any experience of limitation, of adversary. We are able then to love everything and everybody. Spiritual realization has no adversary. There's only one truth. This is how we define forgiveness. So this month we're studying loving kindness and forgiving with all the other centers for spiritual living around the globe that are celebrating these topics together. And this week it's about the courage to be forgiving. So Oprah Winfrey, I'm going to go over here and use my projected voice. She learned from a guest that forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could be anything different. And that was a transformative moment for her when she realized that forgiveness doesn't come from I need to forgive that person because of, but forgiveness is actually the experience of that, there it is in my life writing. Forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could be anything different, accepting that it has happened, not that it's okay, but that it has happened, giving up the hope that it could have been any other way than it was, letting go so that the past does not hold you prisoner or hold you hostage. And so I have a little video to show you to amplify this idea, so won't you watch with me? Did it move you like it moved me? My teacher, Dr. Ken Gordon, who's also the spiritual leader of all the Centers for Spiritual Living, he taught me a little phrase when I was having difficulty with another person. And it was, I love you, I bless you, I release you to your highest good. And it was something simple that I could remember when I was having difficulty with somebody who I felt had wronged me. I could turn it around to love, to bless you, to release you to your highest good. Another chant that I've learned, as I've shared with you many times, it's a Buddhist chant that I also use that works well for me is, may you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be truly happy. And insert any name for you. And you can use that as a chant and say these things over and over again as we work to that place of forgiveness, because discord is built on fear. And we want to transcend the pain and suffering of our lives, do we not? So forgiveness is built on faith. Ernest Holmes says of fear and faith, we all know what fear can do, how it can shrivel up hope and dampen the ardor of living, and how finally it can close up the avenues of self-expression. We've seen it happen. When carried to an extreme, it leaves one a wreck, physically and mentally. This is what fear does. And we have observed faith and what faith can do. We have seen people so filled with fear that nothing in life seemed worthwhile to them. And we have seen them learn to have faith in life and have watched the transformation that has taken place in their lives. You know, a good friend of ours, most of you know her, Mary Lou. She's fine. She had a biking accident on Canada Day. And she's an example at our center of somebody who literally turned fear into faith. She transformed her lives from being admitted into a wheelchair by doctors saying you'll never walk again, to now training for this biking thing where is she going in September?
Victoria.
So she's biking from here to Victoria, is that what they're, yeah, so she's training to bike from here to Victoria, from not walking in a wheelchair, training to bike from here to Victoria. So, Canada Day, she was biking down Alder Street, and she'd forgotten her helmet, and the wind caught her hat, and the last thing she remembers is she caught her hat, and she hit the road pretty hard. She was knocked out, and next thing she knew, she was in the hospital. She has a broken elbow, broken finger, and lots of road rash. So she says hi. She's at home, she's had surgery in her elbow, and she's very optimistic because she knows how to transform fear to faith. I was having a conversation with somebody at the beginning of prepping for today, and they were arguing with me her limitations, saying, well, you know, I don't think she's going to be able to bike to Victoria now. And I said, will you stop it? Of course she can. It's Mary Lou. She's transformed all kinds of blocks in her life into miracles. And so already we had somebody come in today and say, I know what we can do. We can get her this, what's it called for the bike? A wind trainer? Yeah, right? And we can hop her bike onto it, and she can keep in shape. She can bike in her house and keep in shape, and she'll be ready for that road in September. I know it, don't you?
Yeah.
That's faith. And so you see, spirit is only its wholeness and completeness and perfection, and knows all of humankind as whole, complete, and perfect. Spirit knows nothing to forgive. That's a human experience. This 14 billion light years of expression and beyond isn't sitting out there thinking forgiveness. It just is. It's its own perfection. It's its own expression. So forgiveness is a human process. It's nothing else than that, by which we move from an idea of separation, that's them over there and me over here, and us and them concept, a good and bad concept, that we are constantly moving from that idea of feeling separate to a recognition of the unity of all. Spirit is good. It is all, no matter what it looks like. And just have to call Mary Lou and ask her. She is not sitting at home crying the blues. In fact, I think she's figured Periscope out and she's listening right now.
Hi, Mary Lou.
Yeah, hi, Mary Lou. Forgiveness is a shift in consciousness from fear to love. Forgiveness moves us out of victimhood, as Oprah was talking about. into a recognition that life always supports me no matter what. Ernest Holmes says, we should never hesitate to say that we know the truth, because we do. For the realization of unity of God and humankind is the truth. We simply need a greater realization of it. So how do we get it? Only by penetrating deeper and deeper into our own divine nature, pushing further and further back into the infinite. That's what the scientists are doing. They're out there exploring bigger and bigger and bigger. And they're doing it smaller and smaller and smaller. They also talked about if you take one and divide it in half, you got a half, and you divide it in half, you got a quarter, and half of a half, and then you've got a half of a half of a half, and you keep going infinitely small. They keep exploring the grandness and the minuteness of it, never discovering an end. So the scientists are doing it. Are you? Are you at home exploring that infinite truth of the wisdom of the universe and carrying that in your pocket of every experience every day, knowing that it's all spirit? Because the deeper and deeper we get into the reality, the capital R truth, the greater we have an experience of truth in our lives. And the easier it is to forgive and accept life as is. It's just the way it works. This is why we study. This is why we speak truth. This is why we read truth. This is why we write truth. To always be in the concept and the consideration of a bigger idea. And because it's infinite, I don't know about you, but I haven't wrapped my head around 14 billion light years yet. So my homework's not over. Forgiveness is a powerful spiritual tool to shift us from the idea of separation and to our unity with God and our innate goodness. And it's not for the faint of heart. I was watching a video this morning to emphasize the idea within my own self, and I was thinking about, or watching about, Immaculée, and she was the woman who was stuffed in a bathroom for 91 days with 7 other women in Rwanda Holocaust. Anyone else heard about her? Spent 91 days in a bathroom with 7 other people. 3 by 4 was the size. 91 days. They ate beans, and she said occasionally there would be animals crawling in the beans, but you ate it anyway. She lost 40 pounds. She was 2/3 of her weight when she went in. And when they finally heard, they got to listen to the radio while they were in there, when they finally heard about the French coming in, they were given the opportunity to go to a camp where it was safe for the Tutsis to go. And so they stole away in the middle of the night. And can you imagine what it was like after losing 40 pounds? She was probably about 80 pounds at that time. She said she could see the skeletal of her body and had been stationary for 91 days, had to run 2 miles to go to a safe camp. Incredible. And when asked of her, how do you deal with that? She says, forgiveness is the only way. How do I not forgive? How can I live the rest of my life if I can't somehow find that place of oneness in this? And see that those people were not acting from a place of knowing. It was a hysteria that sent loose. And that self-perpetuated itself. We all experience hysterias in our own lives. I've been there. I know you've seen me there. When I get into this place and I can't get out of my own ditch, and I build on that story, I build until it grows and it becomes real, and I invite you in to play with me and say, see, and we go find others who agree, and we all become this big dark ditch together. That's hysteria, and it's not built on truth. It's built on separation. And the only way out of it is to turn back to my teaching, turn back to the reality that I know to be true, to pick up whatever spiritual literature happens to be of interest to me in that moment, and force myself, if I have to read it and sit with it, or not. Blake loves it when I say that. Just had to say. Because that's our other option. We either do it or we don't. There's no in between. We're either practicing a bigger idea or we're not. Bottom line. What side of the fence are you on? There's no walking in the middle and gray area. Spirit only knows its divine nature. And it knows us through that divine nature as well. There's no amount of belief that will make separation from Spirit real. Our belief will never become big enough to overcome the truth, which is oneness. So even if we get in that big dark ditch, or that 3x4 bathroom with 7 other people who haven't bathed for 91 days, even if that's our reality, there is an underpinning truth that is so much greater than that. Her. She knew that. She knew there was a bigger truth. Was she in fear every day? Yeah. But she knew there was a bigger truth. We can feel that union intuitively in the depths of our being, and we can see it reflected in life all around us, all of our nature. After this celebration, go around and take a look. Is it a poppy, Colin? At the poppy growing out of our cement sidewalk against the wall, there is nothing there for dirt, and it's on its 5th flower. Actually 6th. There's a 7th one coming. It's been blossoming for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and it keeps popping out another flower, and I keep thinking, that's the last one, and come the next day, and there's another one. That's truth. You can't stop it. They tried to pave a sidewalk and build a wall, and the poppy said, no way. I'm going to express my true nature. Watch me, one flower after another. How cool is that? I'm serious. Go make sure you look at it. This is the truth of the universe. Everything that we experience in our lives is set up to support us. Even the things and situations that seem tragic, they're there to support us, to give us opportunities. Mary Lou and I were discussing her opportunities. She says, do you know, I've worked there for so long and I've never claimed one sick leave. I actually have in my bank 5 months of sick leave that I can use. 5 months. She can use sick leave. Not that she did it on purpose, but that's the way of turning the situation around. And so we can do that. We can look to where we are holding on to a belief in our separation and that gives us the opportunity to course correct and realign with who we are in spirit. And it's not to trivialize that human pain and suffering. It's real. We feel it. It occurs. But rather than empower it, we can see it differently. Instead of from that place of victim, we can see it from the place of spirit that we are. And we begin from right here, right now. Understanding that beneath the drama of human life is an opportunity to realign with our true self. Always. Our life is always showing us what we believe. And through practice of forgiveness, which is a human spiritual tool, we can shift our fear and our victimhood to love and our true nature. We're set free instantly. So forgiveness is not weakness. It's one of the most courageous things that we can do and we're called to do. It's not for the weak, the passive, or the faint of heart. It calls us to know the depth of our own courage, to trust in the true relationship we have with the God of our understanding. And it's not a one-shot deal either. Sorry to say, it's a way of life. Daily we're called to set aside time in our spiritual practice, like the video said, 7 times 70. To forgive others, forgive ourselves, for any perceived transgressions, so that we can create together a world that works for everyone. So why not join me in prayer? And know that you can take these words as your own if you choose. I see a world that is infinitely expanding in all its divinity everywhere present. I capture this essence in the small things and in the grand, the mountains or the poppy. I feel it within myself that there is this divine nature and it is looking for a place to express. And so I open to my connection to the infinite universe, knowing that I am safe to be me, for I am infinitely whole and complete right where I stand, right here, right now. And so I know, as this is true for me, it is true for each and every person. I see the divine nature in each person and I send them love and support, kindness and consideration. I understand that there is no spot for the idea of separation, me and them, but that there is only in my life place for encompassing all as the whole. I am part of the divine nature of the universe, and I am so grateful. So grateful to know that I and the universe is a majority. And with that consciousness, I move forward in any idea that I might have. Knowing that I am supported and knowing that life is good, I surrender confidently, effortlessly, allowing the blessed life to continue to unfold through me and my experiences. I let go. I forgive. I bless. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.